Does this chair make me look short?
Put it all back here. Put it all.
Chair does so.
Don't forget that slip. Who's the camera person?
Oh boy. Tweedledee and Tweedledee. That's all I was gonna say. I was gonna say something else. Oh, can I steal one of those?
Go right ahead.
I need something to. I was
So
downstairs.
it is on.
It's on now.
Red is on. Green is off.
Thank you.
Really? It's gotta be made in India somewhere.
That is counterintuitive, at least to Western eyes.
This Southwick school is fun though.
Certainly American is. It's on Facebook today, and somebody was talking about how all
Okay,
Americans do
being,
this.
7:05,
All Americans don't do
we're going to call the January 9th Budget Committee meeting to order. The first thing we have on the agenda is the meeting minutes. Give everybody a moment to look them over if there's anything else you wanted to. They hadn't had the opportunity.
I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of January 2nd, 2013.
No, I have a correction. Agreed. Second. Discussion.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, if there's no,
Bottom of the second page.
Yep.
Excuse me. Ms. Dawson stated the Park Commission asking for 40, blah, blah, blah. The selectmen are recommending, which is level funding. The 33,686 is level funding. That statement is true, but someone else reading it might construe that the selectmen voted to level fund it. The reason they voted for the 33,686 is for some reason the Park Commissioner's budget didn't make it from the finance office to the selectmen's budget when they voted, because I personally delivered it to the finance office in December, right after their meeting.
I remember you saying that last week.
Yeah, and it just didn't go any further. So they didn't have this budget, this 40,381 to vote on.
Are they planning on revisiting it?
how,
I guess it doesn't matter at this
How'd
The
you
point.
like-
selectmen's going to bring it up.
how would you like to amend it to read? Or,
Well, I'd like to remove the recommending, and just say that the selectmen voted the 33,686,
Due to information missing.
yeah, due to
Lack of information.
lack of information or lack of Park
Lack of the
Commissioner's
actual
budget, or
so you want,
they can come up with something that sounds great.
so you want to strike out selectmen, you want to strike out our recommending?
Selectmen are recommending. I'd just like to say selectmen voted for.
Okay, so strike out our recommending and put voted?
Voted for 33,686 due to lack of information.
And remove level funding and put due to lack of
I mean,
information?
it is level funding, that's absolutely true, but I just, like I said, it construes that, that's why they voted that.
Or something like based upon available information.
So we want to strike out the, which is level funded, and change that to read,
Based upon information.
Incomplete
available.
information.
Thank you.
so we have a motion,
I don't think you ever seconded, so I'll take my motion back. I make a motion that we accept with the amendment the minutes of January 2nd, 2013.
Second.
and we have a second. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, we'll call the vote, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And so moved, as amended. Okay, I think what we can do is, we'll have, from the agenda a little bit, we'll call Bob up, go over the budget for the parks. Come on down.
No, you're coming out too, Peter.
He already went here once, we got him
I'm his sidekick.
both here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Go through the park.
Parks budget for 2013. Should be in your packet.
Detail. Okay. Everybody's got a copy of that?
Is that the one?
Okay, now, last year was the first year for Parks Commission doing
Go ahead.
mowing and maintenance and that sort of stuff on the parks, correct?
2011 was, right?
Partially, some's contracted, some's we did.
You can tell us where the Parks Commission is with that and what's going to go on for
We're
proposed for
trying to
next year.
find a laborer that will make it through the season.
Yeah.
We had some issues there. We're looking to continue to maintain the 132 field. We tried last year to use the town's X-mark and were shot down, so we went to Plan B. Depending on who we hire with their capabilities, we're trying to consider if we go into mowing all of our parks ourselves. And what we'll have to look at there is the budget for mowing, because what we've got for the laborer's position, we've got plenty of work at Riverfront that we can be doing. There's all sorts of maintenance that should be done. We've got some, the railings, we're thinking may have to be totally sandblasted or something, because the paint seems to keep peeling off. We're trying to find a better fix than just dabbing over each year. Cleaning, pressure washing. Huh? Yeah, I can speak up. Pressure washing the pavilion some, we've got cobwebs there. Pressure washing clean the tables, the brick area. We've got some ants living in the brick area, and we can't do much other than try to spray them out, but then we may have to get some fine sand to sort of fill in the stuff that they're taking out. We've got some areas where we've got some settlement.
A lot of bricks have to be resettled. Settled, water underneath has eroded them.
The walkway,
Walkway and in the pavilion area, especially, there's a couple of areas right by the stairs, as you go out and down the stairs. One of them's really a trip hazard.
You've also included money for, was it $2,000 for new camera setup? For that, is that to replace the ones that are there or to add to?
Add to.
Add to what's there.
Okay.
The ones there don't really pick up certain areas in the park very well because they're all up on the pavilion. We didn't go with any remote cameras. And now with the irrigation and the pump set up down by the fishing pier, we're having problems with vandalism on the supports for the fishing pier, graffiti. We feel we need to go down and actually put some remote cameras down there. So we're looking at wireless cameras that can be mounted to some of the poles down in that area, covering that, and maybe reconfigure the ones up on the building to pick up some of the blind spots in right around the pavilion, like around the kitchen door is a blind area right now. You can get them when they enter the kitchen and coming out, but if they go one way or the other, you can't pick them up, so.
That makes sense.
How much problem exactly are you having with security at Riverfront Park?
There's a lot of vandalism.
I mean, you said graffiti, vandalism, because
we've
Dave
had-
and I are down there like once a week, and I haven't noticed anything
We
that's really,
had,
that I've,
Carving in the kitchen doors,
oh,
Yeah.
well, no, that's,
and the paint down along the wall.
There's a carving in the plexiglass covering up in the...
The donor wall plexiglass has got a symbol carved into it. You got to stand at the right angle to
The phantom
see it.
urinator. You got caught.
We lost a tree, kids were climbing up the tree to get on the roof of the pavilion to jump into the river, or not the pavilion,
going to have the
Fish pier.
fishing.
fishing pier to jump into the river and it
Snap.
split
Yeah.
the tree, I mean, just...
Well,
so-
then that's a problem that cures itself, right? I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying that I think we can get a little overzealous with the security in a
None
park.
of the cameras that we have pick up anywhere in the park other than part of the pavilion area.
Again, if we're talking about a little bit of graffiti and some, I mean, I think maybe we're over-curing a problem, if you know what I mean. It's not, Dave and I are down there at least once a week, and it in general doesn't.
So you'd rather us be reactive instead of proactive?
No, I'd like to say that not every,
The people that are vandalizing the park aren't there when you're there.
no, I know they're not there, but I'm also saying they're in no
They're
way
there.
interfering with my enjoyment of the park.
Well, we have had some interesting visitors to the park doing some very disgusting things.
Yeah, and
One we caught, one we found the results that because of the angles of the camera, could not find that person who left at that wonderful prize.
but isn't that always going to be true? I mean, you're not going to be able to cover the entire 100%
We
scope
fought-
of the park.
No, we got the first one via the cameras, and the police prosecuted. We have prosecuted people for graffiti with very good results because of the camera. If we had caught the kids that broke the tree, there would have been restitution. Whether we have them washing police cars or whatnot, the carving on that door, it's going to cost, I have estimates from $1,500 to $2,500 to refinish the doors, because it's going to, now they're going to have to be sanded to get the carving out and then refinished.
Also, the cameras are such, I walk at night, and one of the nice things about the park is you can go down there and you know that there are cameras around, so that if there is a problem,
It's too late for you. I mean, we'll catch it on camera that something bad happened to you, but nobody's monitoring them.
Well,
Tilton
oh, yes, they are,
PD
I do.
They're 24 hours a day, they're monitoring
I
them
have them on-
cameras.
I have them on my computer,
and Tilton PD also.
yeah.
And so if there's a problem, Tilton PD can respond, whereas if you're at the far end of the park now, nobody can see that you're out there.
And in fact, there was an incident where a resident was being harassed by a group of young teenagers, and we picked it up on the camera, and the police were able to use that. And they prosecuted that case.
Now, I also noticed that one time on the pavilion was actually a fire alarm, and that now is gone?
Correct.
Okay, was there a reason for that?
It's
We no
obsolete.
longer have
The fire district's no longer using those call boxes.
Really?
It's downstairs.
Oh, because that was the other safety device. If you were being assaulted or attacked, you at least had that area.
That's why we
That you
took it
can-
off, because, yeah, you would have pulled it, nothing would have happened. So somebody would have waited for no reason.
Oh, we've grown up.
we've grown too much at times.
And we perceive that we've grown too much. I mean, this stuff always happened, and I don't know that you can only make areas like a park so safe. And I'm not saying you should do nothing, but I don't know that.
Well, all I can say is when I'm walking there, I feel much more safe, and when I see the elderly sitting on the benches, I feel much more comfortable that someone's able to keep an eye on what's happening to them, because a lot of our elderly population now goes down and sits during the day and early in the evening to read and to be outside. And absolutely, if you've never been in the park during the summer, it attracts a certain crowd that is incredible to watch, because you start with teenagers, that go to the 20-year-olds, you go to the 30-year-olds that are acting like the 13-year-olds, and the only suggestion would be, without cameras, police do walkthroughs. And if you want to
Well, then I must have been
money-
very fortunate, because we've never had any trouble with any of the people down there. I mean, they've always been,
Depends
say
on the
hi and
time of the day.
go on their way.
What goes on.
That's good.
Well,
We also have Riverfront Place now completing their walkway down to the overflow parking on Mill Street that goes through our park. So part of their employees or patrons are going to come through our park, and then
well, then why aren't they paying part of this?
they'll cover their part, I would assume.
Also to be aware that a lot of times, it's not the people at the river park that are doing it, it's across the way in the park where the old Surratt Battery, because they swim across, do their thing, and then swim back across the river. It's so wonderful to watch them during the summer doing that. You also have the
Rio
kayakers.
Grande.
Yeah, they play and we also have kayakers that are just bouncing around, so be aware that
Those marauding
teenagers,
kayakers.
if teenagers have a way of doing something, they will do it.
Exactly my point. That is exactly my point, Wayne. If they come up with a way to do it, it does not matter how many security cameras you have. They're going to do it.
Should
One
we
of the
take them
things-
all out then?
No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, you have to have some protection just for liability purposes, but you can't protect the entire park, and you can't protect every citizen who goes
Oh,
there.
yeah, I know, and this $2,000 won't protect the whole park, but the structures, the fishing piers, the investment we have in it, hopefully, if somebody vandalizes.
It's recorded?
We have a set of meters down
Yes.
there.
Yes.
You know, if
They're on
somebody
a,
vandalized them, we can-
7-day.
no, it's 23-day cycle. So it's recorded and held for 23 days, and then it's recorded over that 23. So if we find vandalism, we can go, and it wasn't spotted at the time it was done, we can go back in and search back for 23 days, so.
And it's been used as evidentiary for the courts for their prosecution, which is another advantage.
Right.
The police department has the program on their computers, or their computer.
Well, we could go the way of England and just put cameras on every single light post, and this crime still happens, so there's only so much you can do.
Because of the hooligans.
The hooligans, that's right. But it just seems like a
How
rather
many
large
cases
increase.
how many police cases have the cameras been used for through the courts to completion, from, review of the tape to an arrest, to
Well, there
a
was
trial
one-
date, to them actually, somebody having to, be sentenced and do restitution?
There was a case of graffiti. I don't believe it went through the courts. They were prep school kids, and the prep school asked to take care of it, and they did very swiftly. Some of the students did not continue to occupy Tilton Prep, and some were made to do restitution. The incident where the fellow was harassed in the park by kids was prosecuted. I don't know the outcome because of the nature of the case.
Community service, I believe.
We've had, I can think of two. One of them was someone who decided to urinate on the wall inside the pavilion. The police apprehended that person. He was charged. And
Was that security camera or the police just saw him?
security camera.
Camera.
I just want to make sure I'm working strictly with how much
Security
has,
camera, yeah.
how much has it,
We had, and these are the only ones that I know of.
And those are just this year's.
Those are just this year's.
And even if it
There's at
prevents
least, yeah.
one, that's to me
That's-
worth the
that-
cost.
I'm just telling you the ones I know
right,
of this year.
that's what I just want to, I want to make sure that if they're being used, that they are being used to their fullest potential. They're not just up there sitting on the wall, even though somebody's looking at them, nothing's happening further with them.
Well, no, there was a case of graffiti, and some of this came by way of the person we had working in the park. It was one of the things I asked them to do. When you go in and you see something, please, you need to call immediately, mark down the time that you've noticed it, so we can pinpoint it on the camera. But we had a case of graffiti, they just went in from Riverfront Place and went all through, hit every lamp post, garbage container, bench, you name it, and it was graffitied, and I took the pictures from the camera, I showed the police, and then I went down and took pictures, and they were able to apprehend the individual.
I was down there one day and I saw a gentleman come in with a developmentally disabled child, and he was acting very suspicious with the child, and I called the police and they were able to check it out to get the license plate and everything because of the cameras, so.
The other thing is it works very preventative, because as I'm sitting there with the computer, because you can do computer work there, I had a bunch of kids that showed up and were playing around and doing their goofy stuff, and I looked, all I did was point to the little black dome, and I said, continue. You're making great pictures, and they all, oops, time to leave.
Yes, heaven forbid kids enjoy the park.
They weren't enjoying the park, they were harassing people trying to get work done. They were sitting on the tables, they were yelling, screaming.
Okay.
Is there any signage saying that the park is protected by security cameras or anything like that down
No,
there?
and that has to be done.
We discussed it recently.
Yeah.
Who determines the placement of the new cameras? Who's determining that?
Well, in conjunction with ourselves and the police,
And the camera people.
and,
Because it seems to me that just taking the camera that is catching the people that can go in and out of the door and repositioning that would be able to get.
if I wish I had it on my throne.
I don't have the schematic, and I realize that I'm.
My big
No,
computer, but
that's what
it
we're
is,
talking
is-
about, Len, is that some of the cameras presently on the pavilion can be tweaked, but they're now trying to pick up the farther locations. And we need to tweak those and set up some remote ones so that we can get, like the kitchen door area and that, and we can just turn those cameras from where they're presently. One of the problems, I will admit, is some of the trees have grown in there, and one of the cameras is almost completely blocked by the trees, so
Need to move the
ideally,
camera.
we need to relocate the camera, and that would all be wrapped into this cost, as well as getting the new cameras up there. And
How about some of the other parks? Do you have problems with graffiti at any of those?
132.
was broken into the Friends of Winnisquam Football Snack Shack back in September. Fortunately, they must have been on foot because they only took a few items. But they kicked the double doors in.
And we've also had copper from their scoreboard.
Yeah, the ground wire was stolen.
Ground wire, 3 feet of ground wire was cut out just for the copper. I mean,
Both of those were this year.
and we have no security up there at all. So that's why down under there, you do see that we put in for security cameras up there as well. And those would be remote cameras that would tie in to the system or have their own system up there. And
It looks like we had $1,200 last year for security repairs up there. Did that just not happen?
that did not happen, yes.
Okay, so can we encumber, have the selectmen going to encumber that money for
No, it's
this year?
too late because we're into this year. Would have been done last year. We didn't have the shed was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. That's why it didn't take place. And we finally got the shed.
And the skating rink, what's happening with the skating rink? Is it up?
It's up, we're in the process of flooding it. The weather's not cooperating again.
In that weather?
Global warming.
We all know it's gonna change though.
We just had a week of beautifully cold weather.
Yes, and we've been flooding it every night, building the level up and everything, but for the
It's not a
last,
flat field.
last 3 nights, we haven't been able to flood anything, so we're working on it.
Can we go back to the Riverfront Park for a minute? Because the big expense is the new expense there. That really is the big increase in the overall parks budget, and that's the $5,000 to strip and paint the railings.
Yep.
Can I have some detail on that?
The railings are starting to peel. We've had twice in the past, we've gone in with town crews and they've supposedly primed and painted these railings. That paint is all flaked off, new paint is flaking off. It appears that when those railings were installed, they were never primed properly. And therefore, the paint that's on there will not adhere to the galvanized and is flaking off. Some people say, well, it's the skateboards, but you can't skateboard between the 2 railings and the paint's coming off on the underside. So, Catherine's talked to a few. We want to go out and have it commercially done, have them come in, strip the paint, put the galvanized primer on, and repaint them. And that's the reason for that being in there, so that we can get railings back that when you slide your hand down the railings, you don't get paint chips in your hands. And
This $5,000, is this a guesstimate?
yes,
It's just-
based on-
It's based on, I talked to 3 different outfits that paint and told them what it was. One of them went and looked, the others, the prices I had ranged from, it's like 4,300 up to 6,000, depending on, because those railings don't come out. One company said, well, you're gonna have to take the railings out, we're gonna have to cut them off, we're gonna have to, put them back together, blah, 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 and take them out and have them sandblasted. One place was gonna sandblast them and paint in place. So that's the middle number. The 5,000 was the middle number. I don't think the railings have to come out to be sandblasted. I think they can use tarps. There's plenty of power there. I mean, I have a portable sandblaster, so I'm sure painting outfits do. They sandblast bridges, so with a generator, electricity, they can do it in place. So that's why I picked the middle number. I didn't think we had to go to
It's
that
just a big number,
extreme.
that's really the big
Big.
hit
It is.
to this budget.
yeah.
How many feet of railing?
I don't know, but there's what, 1, 2, 3 sets of stairs, right? 1, 2,
1, 2,
3.
2.
There's the 3rd one, there's the walkway that goes down that.
Just 2.
1, 2.
Just the two major ones.
Then I,
Just 2.
And
I
then,
don't know.
and then light poles too.
And the lamp post, yes.
Same problem.
Same problem
Same
with the
problem.
lamp
So
poles.
it's definitely not the skateboarders on that.
And, no, and, I mean,
Here's wood. Make believe wood.
the railings on the fishing pier, those are
different.
almost like a wrought iron
Yeah, those are
railing.
different.
They weren't galvanized, and they,
Probably.
they're holding up. I don't think the fish and pier railings really need, outside of some bolt work at the base to stabilize a couple of them, they don't need any paint. It's the lamp poles and the railings that really need the paint, so.
If these are galvanized, wouldn't it make more sense just not to paint them? You know, or just install something that we don't have to maintain or worry about?
I don't
One
think
shot.
I'd even want to guess at the cost of replacing all those lamp poles. Oh, the railings.
Might get decent bulbs that don't kill us on electricity.
You know, if you have somebody that's doing maintenance every year, they could touch it up. Nobody's going to be putting the hand in most areas.
Just a graffiti artist.
Well, except if you go in the
But
park,
the
you'll see
graffiti
that
guys
those,
could
it's,
paint it.
you know, to keep up with it, they'd be painting all the time when it's coming off.
The
This
Golden Gate
this is
Bridge.
basically like every 5 years, you'd probably have to go in there and paint those railings.
No, this is,
I don't think so.
what we have to do is go back to the beginning. We have to get back down to galvanized, put the proper primer on it.
Why do you have to
for
paint them though?
Galvanized, because they were pretty ugly. It was not a finished galvanized. They were designed to be painted.
And
So you're
there's no
saying
warranty?
once you get the proper primer on there,
Once
then
you
you
get the
can
proper
just
primer on
repaint
it,
them and
Yeah.
repaint
Then
them?
you're not gonna have this problem, and then you can just maintain it. We can just have our hourly guy just, you know, touch
There's no
that up, you
recourse
know,
that
for
way.
whatever reason, somebody scratched
Wrong
it.
primer.
I mean, the
Somebody
company
fixed
that did it.
Basically, the $5,000 is a one-time expense.
It should be, yeah. We should be down to bare metal, get the proper primer
Now,
on it.
who installed the railings that did the incorrect work? Is there, do
When
we
it
have any
was built.
recourse to?
You know, I pulled out the thing to find out what they were, but no.
At this point, if you really
There's no
have to go back after
warranty
it.
Yeah.
as far as.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it
So
seems to
long
me if
ago.
you do shoddy work, it doesn't matter when it's discovered.
Sure it does.
Well, yes, I guess
Well,
it
you-
does
it'll
in some
be a civil-
respects.
They may
It'll be a
have, they may
civil
have come finished, they may have been installed finished.
No, they weren't.
So, yeah, I would hope that if we do this, we'll get a warranty, a certain number of years.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
They have
what's-
to warranty that
10-year
they're using
warranty
the
or-
correct product. Yeah, well, this isn't gonna be, we've learned our lesson, I guess.
So we don't have any guarantee like that on the original installation?
So
I couldn't
anyways,
find one.
back to the lighter side. When do you expect the skating rink will be up and running?
Get the weather.
Okay.
Assuming we go into a week of cold weather next week, we probably should have it up the following weekend.
Super.
I mean, we've got, what, 4 inches, 5 inches down the one
Not quite, because there's a gap in it.
gap down there, but Peter's been working almost nightly on it, going out after he gets out of work, laying the 3 hoses out, or 4 hoses, coming back 3 or 4 hours later, rolling all those hoses back into
they
the
don't
building
freeze.
so they're not froze outside, closing the pumps, shutting the pump down.
We set it up too late this year, so we were setting up with frost, and our low point, the liner's setting a little low, so we get about 4 inches and it starts to bleed out. So fortunately, we're using well water and not water company water, because we'd be bankrupt.
Can I just ask, you had said that somebody stole the copper from the ground on the 132?
Yeah.
But you don't have anything budgeted for electric?
That's because
That's
Friends of Winnisquam football.
Friends of Winnisquam
They
footballs,
maintain that.
they maintain that.
It's their board.
It's their scoreboard and their responsibilities, so.
I noticed you have fireworks and Christmas parade, you don't have anything about summer fair, are you not doing that?
We did not budget anything in there for summer fair. We've talked about it, we're not sure. We haven't done it in the past. To be honest, the Christmas parade is quite a fiasco to put that on and everything, and we would really need to form a subcommittee for a summertime street fair to get more help from just the commissioners doing it. So, I mean, we could put money in the budget if you feel, but I'm not sure it would come off this summer, and,
I would think the
Yeah,
merchants
you have
would,
to remember the summer
Get
fair was
together.
put on by
merchants.
the Main Street.
No, I'm aware of that.
And all
But
the
there-
businesses.
I'm aware of that, but
So
it was
it's-
going to be taken over by that's what we were told when the Main Street program went down the tubes, and you didn't do it last year because you didn't have enough time to plan. That's just what, I just wanted to know if you were. My other question is, did you get funds transferred to you from the Main Street program?
no.
Number two, then I guess this is for everybody. What happened to that money that was given to the Main Street program last year? And then it went,
I don't think we gave money last year.
Last year, I don't think
I mean,
we
the
did.
year before. Yeah, we gave
I
them-
think Vince stretched it out as long as he could, and then just,
oh, because I went to a meeting of them after it disbanded, and there was still money, and there was talk of doing something down along the riverfront. And there was like $5,000 left. So that's probably shouldn't be, that's not for you to have to answer, but I'm just
Take the
curious.
money if you want, Jeff.
Well, I was
I'm not gonna
I
vote for
didn't
an increase in the
understand why it wasn't transferred to you to begin with if you were going to be taking over those activities for them. That's why I asked the question.
We've been told in the past that there was upwards of 30,000 in there, and that they were looking at a walk along the riverfront, and they were talking that they were going to actually buy see-through tops that could be put around the pavilion at the Christmas fair, so you could actually see out into the park while the activities were going on under. Whatever happened to that money, whatever's done, I don't really know.
I know it's not up to you, and I think that needs to be pursued, though, because we did give them monies, and the office is now closed, there's no longer a phone line, it's been disconnected. So I think we do, that's not your
Right.
problem. I just wondered if they had transferred monies to
No.
you for that. Okay.
No.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would hope before we did plan a event in the center of town, like a summer fair, that we did find out what happened to that money first. So you guys don't spend it out of your budget. If there was money left over for it.
If there's money left over, yeah.
but they weren't a town entity anyway. We wouldn't have a right to the money if,
No, yeah,
even
they're
if they
private
did
nonprofit.
have.
Yeah.
We don't have any strings on
They
it.
could have had a big old party, and
Yep.
we'd have to say, well, that's what they
Yep,
did with it.
exactly.
That would be merchant.
Yeah, I mean, there would be other people who would have to say about it, but it wouldn't be us.
Arborist work? So we didn't get any done last year?
We opted not to do any this past year. The trees really weren't, the small amount in Riverfront we handled ourselves with clippers, trimming them out. But now some of the tops have died on the trees, and they really need to have those dead limbs taken out. The Main Street trees have got, not the Main Street, Civil War between Winter Street and Main Street has a lot of dead limbs in it, as well as the island. Those maples out on the islands are showing more signs of decay and decline. Of course, that will have to be worked out through the selectmen and the Northfield selectmen, so that's why this figure isn't as large as what it has been in years past, and is only 2,000, because I'm basing it on the work that needs to be done more at Riverfront and the Civil War, with a little bit for the island, so that we cost share with Northfield on it. I estimate about $1,000 for over at the island, and our portion of that would be $500. The other $1,500 would be between the two parks, and if there's any, I don't believe there's any on the Main Street trees, but we have treated those in the past as well, so.
It might be time to remove the trees from the vest pocket part. I mean, I think we discussed that a little bit.
We have talked about possibly removing the large spruce tree that's up into the wires in the middle of the park and opening that up a little bit, possibly moving the statue out into a more prominent location instead
It
of
doesn't
being...
look like he's leaning against the building.
Loitering.
Yeah.
There was talk of possibly moving the spruce tree from there over into either the Civil War or Riverfront.
Is that feasible?
Is it cost effective?
Not cost effective.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's going to be cost effective to
Can't
really
imagine.
do that. I mean, yes,
It can be done.
it can be done.
Well, it's not like it's an historical tree or anything.
It's not a historical tree, right. And I'd have to get an estimate on moving it versus planting a new one. I mean,
I think it's going to be cost prohibitive.
I think you could probably cut it and sell it as a Christmas tree. Yeah, because that's one of the things that, we're starting to get graffiti and under vandalism, and that spruce tree is just going to
Just a
make
barrier.
a little hiding place.
Place,
And you get
yeah.
people,
Oh, that park is so overplanted.
Yeah.
somebody could steal one of the
It
lamps
was
or
like
something.
it's like
if the
we have
tree
a park,
gets too big.
park supply warehouse and we
notice.
got the extra pieces. We need 8 lampposts, not 2.
And when it was thinned down, it was really very attractive and pretty,
I
and now
know.
it just looks like...
One of the things,
Just insane.
the mowing, who's doing the mowing?
Where?
Yeah. Yes.
Who do we subcontract out the summer landscape?
Do we do it, or?
no.
It depends on which part.
Riverfront Park, Civil War Monument, and Buffalo Park is under a contract with a private landscaping company.
What are you doing in Buffalo Park?
Around the
Parking
parking lot every 2
Take
weeks.
my weed whacker down there.
The man.
132, we took over ourselves mowing this year, or I should say, Peter took over
Gonna say Peter.
on behalf of the commission.
I did get some help from
Mowing
friends
it.
who Winnisquam football. too.
We did, with the selectmen's permission, form a subcommittee or volunteer committee to help with that on 132. The problem is, the Friends of Winnisquam donated for our use last summer a mower.
No, Cal Ripken, but
Okay, well,
One of the teams.
Don't we own a mower, a zero-turn mower?
I'm
Yeah,
not
but-
certified.
You are now?
I know how to run it.
do you have a certificate?
Can I see your certificate?
We were told we could not run that without a certificate.
Who writes certificates for lawn mowing?
It's a long story.
Can the Pines run a class on it?
So, now, are you going to get use of a mower this year? Or is that?
We're hoping to, that they'll continue providing us.
The one we have is dying. It's a 96, and the last time I used it, I could walk faster than it was moving.
So we may,
We may be trying to work with Home Depot, Tractor Supply, Lowe's, see if they can give us a bit of a deal, and
donate one to us
I don't know if they'll fully donate, but at least...
Where would that get stored? That's,
in the
in our
storage.
shed.
you said.
We got the other tractors in there
It's
now.
the security cameras. Can I ask a question about the arborist work? Last year, you got $2,000 for arborists. You spent none of it?
We spent none, no.
And now you want 2,000 again? I mean,
Just-
it's just, we give you 2,000, you don't use any of it, and now you want the same money again. And
I
I'm,
was too busy mowing 132.
come on, Peter, what are you doing with this?
To be honest, we just did not, the work that We did at the park, Riverfront, we cut out the lower branches ourselves to save money there. I did not have chance to go out with a contract to solicit bids to get it and everything. That work needs to get done. Its highest priority this year is going out and soliciting bids for that work, because the liability is there that if those trees come down and somebody's in the park, we're going to be liable for the any damages they cause to the person in the park. And there are dead limbs in Civil War and on the island.
And Buffalo Park.
Buffalo Park
Being over my house.
Buffalo Park is a different situation. That's a woods.
Conservation area.
That's a conservation area that Parks is maintaining the trails and stuff, but you really don't,
I can't go up and cut.
You might
No,
get
but you gotta
shot.
lean against some of the trees and knock them over.
You might get shot, too, so.
From that 5-foot.
the way that was set up, we really can't go in there and remove the large-scale removal that needs to be done, because you can't do any forestry work in Buffalo Park. And
I thought the way it read is that you couldn't do large-scale forestry without the direction of an arborist, a registered arborist. That you
I'd
needed
have
an
to look
actual,
at it.
a forester. I remember.
it
well,
may
I
say
vaguely
without a
remember.
licensed forester. I'll have to look at it again.
I believe that was the stipulation, not that it couldn't be done, but that it had to be done under
I
the
was
direction
thinking
of a
it
forester.
couldn't be done again, but we can look at that. and
Well, no, I'm not, I mean, that's.
If you've got trees of concern, Lynn, let us know, and we will definitely look at those trees.
I'd say every single one of those hemlocks in there is of concern, and
pines.
several of them are next to my property, so we'll see what happens.
2 points. One is, I agree with you with the liability, especially with these cameras over there catching the tree falling. The person that you'll have to give that tape to, and if you put the extra cameras in, they'll get it from 4 different angles, and we'll end up getting sued all the way around. The second piece is with the football team. How is the field holding up there? Is there a lot of wear and tear? Because we know that football is not very nice to grass.
Midfield gets torn up. The head coach does a fair amount of work on his own, trying to help it out, seeding and stuff, different times of the year. They're doing what they can.
Right.
As a volunteer.
We did limit this year, we cut, was it
Practices were removed at the end of the season for the Falcons, the Franklin Tilton Falcons.
Okay.
The smaller ones.
because the field was getting torn up too much with the weekday practices and then the games
The high school
on the weekends.
High school only uses it for games, and occasionally the night before the game, they'll use closer to the field goals, practicing kicking and all and stuff, but they try to stay off it.
Okay, good.
So, yes, they've been fantastic, working with them.
Yeah.
They've helped us do a lot. I mean, they helped us tear down the ice skating rink, members of the football team, and
Roll up that liner.
liner and so forth. So they've been very cooperative and working with us and trying to keep the cost down to the town, as well as keep the field in good condition for themselves. They do the overseeding in the spring. We do the fertilizing through contract because of the requirements there to have licenses for the fertilizer and if we need pesticides out there, so.
Other sports also use 132? Softball, any of those other groups, or is it just the football?
Not as organized sports, but there have been
any
some
kind of
pickup
sports.
games, yeah.
Now, T-ball was going on there last year from Tilton Northfield Little League.
Oh, that's right.
They'll also sometimes use it as an extra practice field.
Good.
And the field is open for family outings, like if you're having a family reunion and you want to do a softball game or a baseball game, you can use the field through the registration form through the town and everything. So we have had that in the past. There was a
There's
soccer,
at least one retired golfer that practices there.
there was a soccer camp back in the spring too up there, I believe. Like one weekend or a 2-weekend soccer camp.
So it is used.
It is used, yes. Yeah.
The Mudcats, I think, have done stuff.
Stuff up there, yes. Yeah.
So we get some use.
Anything else? Good. Big selectmen
Big
budget
night.
too.
Oh, well, we don't want to hold you up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for,
Thank you.
thanks for coming in. Gives us a good idea of what we're looking at here. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Okay, the next thing we have the selectmen's budget. There were some changes to look at too. If everybody saw that?
Yeah.
In the shaded areas. Probably, you aware of that, Lynn? With the shaded areas?
I see them.
They got changed from what we had voted on at the last meeting.
Okay.
So we would have
On
to
the
re-vote.
selectmen's, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So the health insurance changed.
Is
Health
it all like those kind of
Health insurance and dental.
human resources costs?
Yeah, people shuffled around, and we have final figures now.
Enrollment's
That's the
over.
only change is guessing, that's all.
I found 3 lines. So get the town hall health insurance,
PD.
PD
and then under the PD, the health insurance and the dental.
Okay.
Highway,
Those 3 lines.
highway health did not change.
Okay, so we already voted to accept the budget previously before
Tim
those
has
changes.
something to say.
I was just saying that they're shaded.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
So if we're in agreement, we'll have to have a motion to amend or change that to accept the new numbers.
I make a motion that under the town hall health insurance line 415.64-240, that was recommended as part of the whole administration budget in the amount of $62,110, be revised downwards to the amount of $48,510.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. You want to do all of them at once?
Oh, sure, you want me to add the rest of them?
Sure, go
Throw
for
them
it.
right in there.
Okay, I also recommend that we revise line 4210.64-240, the PD health insurance, from $320,080 up to $321,970. And the line 4210.65-241, PD dental, from $95.80 downwards to $9,047.
Second.
These will bring them in line with the selectmen's budget.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. So we'll amend the bottom lines to reflect those when with the budget. Okay. Next thing, we had a few things that we already voted on. We have some things that are open. We have, what's left?
Culture and
Culture and
recreation.
recreation.
The culture and recreation. Look at the new sheets. Fill in the blanks.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we fund the Park Commission in the amount of $40,381, knowing that is got a $5,000 one-time fee in it, that increase in the line is acceptable.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the Parks Commission expenses for $40,381. Any discussion? Being none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we fund the recycling committee for $1,500, that we also fund the Memorial Day for $200, and Grange expenses for $6,000.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second for the recycling committee.
Oh, you want to do that?
And park maintenance, I'm sorry.
And I would like also to add to that, that we also put in there, add to it that we also do the park maintenance on the island for $2,000.
And I'll second that amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to
For the
fund
recycling,
the lines for recycling committee, park maintenance, cultural Memorial Day,
and Grange
and
expenses.
Grange expenses
Yeah.
to match the ones that the selectmen have. And a second, so all those in, any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And so moved.
Okay, good. I have a question on the war conflict memorial. There is no money asked for that, so zero?
One-time.
It was a one-time
One-time
deal.
fee? Okay, good.
It's already up and dedicated.
Good. That makes it easier.
That's it. Pretty good, I have my whole
What?
But we really only,
We'll have
the
the,
health agencies, the outside agencies is where our differ is with selectmen
Right.
and budget committee.
Right, community action transit is $2,500 difference.
Right.
The Red Cross is $1,000 difference, and the Pines is $5,000 difference.
And don't forget the $30 for the new beginnings.
Oh, I told you I didn't have my glasses on. You can't expect me to see them.
That was a 45-minute discussion, come on.
Yeah.
okay, so
That was Selectman Dawson's discussion, so.
we will be having the public hearings, and at that time, if, the public hearing, we might decide to change or amend anything. Usually doesn't happen, but that's it. Now, do we have projected revenues?
Yes.
Yes, it is in
To
there.
that page.
Oh, yeah, we haven't voted on those, have we? Yeah, they were on the second page.
No, this page, looks like that.
I know, I saw it.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
You want the last page?
No, I'm good.
She had to go from
I'll get the cash for you.
Projected revenues.
We did really well this year with revenues. Was there anything, anything extraordinary here that happened? I mean, was it just the sale of the town property that really increased that? It couldn't have been, it had to be more than just that, or was that?
No, we had, look at the PD witness court fees, court revenue.
Where is that?
And the difference between the
Budget was 2,000.
Charges for
actual
service.
930.
Was there something wacky about this particular year that made it go up so much?
Good. I also noticed that the building permits were also almost doubled, but you accounted for that in the estimate.
Right.
The new fees,
The new fees,
and we had more activity.
Paid 'em, we're good.
Good.
you would have experienced
It is.
these, yeah.
I mean, because
To go.
that's a tremendous jump. And to do this means that you're assuming you're going to have another crime wave,
I
right?
didn't pay him.
I mean, doesn't
I
it?
billed him.
This is
true.
with tax revenue, then,
Yeah, the top.
Do any of the selectmen know why we got so much from PD revenue when we only projected 2,000? And Lynn pointed out, are we expecting that
court
same
revenue.
amount of, even more this year? Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Yes, go ahead.
The reason for that, if you recall, back when you were reviewing the revenues a few months ago, in the monthly report, you would have noted that the actuals were off with the budgeted figures, and it's because of the classification, the way things were being done, and there was some miscommunication in terms of the original budgeting for those lines. So when you took the lines as a whole, and you looked at the budget as a whole, and you took those lines, revenue as a whole, they were very close. Do you recall that? How they were in sync, but they weren't individually. So this was really realigning and taking a closer look at those with the chief and making sure that those represented the type of revenue that they were doing.
So in fact,
Really correcting.
it would be nice to
line
have the
names
same
changed.
budget to compare one year to the next sometime, ever.
So that's the way it's going to stand. The other lines were eliminated now, or?
Well, and is that part of the grants, donations, reimbursed expenses? We budgeted 12,500, actually took in 68, and now we're budgeting 10,500?
The chief didn't have all the manpower available to him to be able to take advantage of all the
Right.
grants and donations.
So he eliminated one of them. He didn't do all of them.
The only thing that we added to that is there's a program that we're reimbursed over time, and that's the reimbursable expense. You could also bill for time spent for other people doing work for other PEs if we do calligraphy, work, that sort of thing, polygraph work. In general, I can tell you the motor vehicle is probably the single best indicator of economic activity for the town. And if you look at an awful lot of these lines, they're up in terms of actual versus budget. And Cindy sees a great deal more activity coming. The trend is up. And the fees are up, so we project high revenue there as well.
So some of the increases because the fees themselves have gone up, and some of the increases because there's increased activity, is what you're saying?
Right.
That's correct.
Building permits, the fees
Combination.
went up last year.
But he also has had more building permits this year,
A lot.
this past year.
Yeah.
And also there are penalties if the permits aren't pulled properly, which has been successful in getting those as well.
Does anybody remember what 2011 or any of the previous years?
I don't think that would be.
2011 for which building permits?
The revenue,
Yeah,
overall
we came out
revenue.
there because the actual cost of the fees went up this year, so.
Report?
On the table up there.
Yeah, I can see it.
Should be.
Right.
Is that going to show the review in the annual report?
And why the huge increase on the school resource officer?
The contractual agreement we have now is based on our actual costs and not just the general cost. We changed the contract.
Cost to have the resource officer there.
We charge him for the
Like
car.
including his insurance and
Everything we
stuff
could
like
think
that?
of, including the cost of the car.
So, and before it was like just salary or something?
No, it wasn't even based on that. It was just kind
It was
of a...
less than
Somebody
They
came
just
up with a
came
number
up
and
with a
that's,
number.
okay.
Yep.
And the school didn't go, what?
Oh, yeah, the school went wild, because we tried to implement this in 2011, but of course, the school budget's on a different cycle than we do, and they, they actually did that.
We wrote up an actual contract with them now. So they're expecting it goes with the officer that's doing it their way.
Which is a good thing.
And there's no profit here, it's cost.
This is cost only.
But at least we're getting.
I think we should soak the school, charge them 76,000, come on. Oh, wait.
Well, it was costing the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years. I mean, for years, it's cost the
I
town
know.
to have resource officers.
There were a lot of variables that the old formula didn't even consider. It was just a figure. It had to have been random.
I have that book.
The revenues in the town report.
Look at the MS4. If the MS4 is in
Do this.
If the MS4 is in there, that's gonna, isn't the MS4 the one that shows revenue?
Dramatic about it. I was tempted to go,
I'm gonna read all the
Call down to the IT.
What are you looking for?
revenue.
Yeah, it's curious to see.
That seventh form is where they put their revenue estimate.
What is the MS4?
It's our, the revenues that we use.
Part of the legal document.
Well, that's why it's important to me.
Where? I don't know.
As I say, I
It has
don't
to be
really
in
look at
here.
the MS4 is the one that
The
I,
revenue.
Projected
I
revenue.
think we need more
Well, the,
timber.
same budget, the budget.
Okay.
So let's go cut the spruce tree or whatever the tree it is.
Revenue?
I was just curious what the word. Frank's not up.
Well, it should be, but unless I'm
Isn't that wonderful?
budget.
usually right after the budget.
I know, that's what it's supposed to be, it's part of the legal document. I mean, I've probably typeset 300 of these things.
Cash on hands.
Good luck.
Maybe that's Box Printing Company.
No,
Yeah.
no, we've never done Tilton.
No,
What? What'd you say?
you cannot do that, Pat.
What'd you say, Pat?
Chairman, can I make a motion that we accept the revenue projections as detailed here? $1,282,870, that's less the sewer commissions from this list as we were the projected 2013 revenue lines.
I second that.
Motion and a second.
Try, though.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. So total revenue of
$1,282,870.
870.
Get that a budget.
The selectmen did all the work this year.
Budget.
We got a budget.
Well,
But apparently we didn't in 2011.
I think I have it at home. You want me to call you with it?
Well, it's gonna
Mr. Chairman,
bother me.
Yes.
It's supposed to
Well, you probably tore it out.
I have a letter I'd like to read to you.
Sure.
This letter says, "Dear Chairman Scanlon, I hereby submit my resignation from the Town of Tilton Budget Committee. I have enjoyed working with you and the other members of the board to create efficient and tax-friendly budgets for the citizens of Tilton. I wish you all the very best. Sincerely, me."
Denied. Don't
I knew we wouldn't get her for long.
anyone touch it.
I'm grateful that we had her for an extra year, so.
Sign it.
Is that immediate?
Effective immediate.
Effective immediate.
You can't talk you out of it, Tony? It worked before.
Don't anyone touch it.
Can we have a going away party, Tony?
Nope.
The last 6 months, every Wednesday.
Sad.
That's sad, Tony. Thank you for serving as long as you did, though.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Now, what would you want all this sanity for?
What would I want to miss all this sanity? All this?
now we have to get her to do something else.
I am doing something
There's a
else.
fire commissioner job opening soon.
Oh, man.
The
With
capital,
a 10-foot pole.
the capital committee for the planning.
Yes,
I haven't heard anything about it.
they only meet once a month, Tony.
What's that?
Fire commission meets once a month.
So does the budget committee.
MS1.
Oh, well, which one with the committee for the planning?
Impact?
We have,
Did that to me.
we have a problem with it. We don't have anything. We met last week with Mike Izzard from
Mine at the
Lakes Region Planning. And we can't use any maintenance, we can't use those funds for any kind of maintenance.
Sense of humor.
So unless the town of Tilton has a huge bus with new developments coming in. we
Mr.
wouldn't be
Chairman,
able
are we
to
all set, so I can make a
unless
motion
there
to
were
adjourn,
special
sir?
circumstances. So we're asking Dan Green to
Other
look
business?
at
I guess, do we have to make a motion to accept
the
them?
impact.
Unfortunately,
I can't just let it sit here. Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the resignation letter of Tony Belair, effective as of this date,
As of this moment,
as of this moment.
so that nothing I did here today can be rescinded.
In honor of Tony, I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, unfortunately, to accept the resignation of Tony Belair, effective immediately. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Regretfully, aye.
Carefully.
Sadly, aye.
Opposed?
I therefore make a motion to adjourn, sir.
And so moved, and we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Second?
Under somebody toward us.
Yeah. Anyway. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
The revenue? No. And I don't see it in the,
That means I can go.
oh, no. Nope, I didn't see the MS7, and that's, I mean, that's like not legal, right?